Hey everyone, I'm Christine Kidder-Graves and I'm an executive career coach. My specialty is working with revenue producing leaders. And I'm here to show you how to get offers from your interviews. Too many of you are doing all these interviews and you're not getting offers. It's extremely frustrating. It zaps your energy. And yeah, it's just very depleting. It has a very negative impact. So I want to help you get the train back on the tracks and get the job offers that you really want. So that's what this is all about. I'm going to be going through this swiftly because I want to keep this to 20 minutes for you. And there's going to be resources in the comments. If you have questions, put your questions in the comments. And you can always DM me if you don't feel comfortable putting your questions in the comments. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because I have my little PowerPoint here to go over with you. And I'm going to share this. So anyway, so let's get going here. Oops, so sorry about that. Something happened with my screen share. And I'm going to have to go back to this. Here we go. I should have put my phone on Do Not Disturb. So anyway, let's try this again here. All right, so here we go. All right, so I promised you that I would give you the top interview questions that you will be asked because you need to be prepared. All right, that's really important. You need to make sure that you're prepared for these questions, that you've thought about them. Do not memorize answers. Do not do that at all. Okay. So really, again, think about these questions and be prepared. The best question that I would always love to ask is tell me about yourself, because I want to assess your communication skills. I want to see how well you can answer this question for me. And you should take, I would say, no more than 2 to 3 minutes in answering this question. You want to be succinct, brief, to the point. And even before you are answering this question, think about what it is that they want. You need to get as much intel as possible before that interview, that first time talking with them, and especially before talking with the hiring manager. What is it that they need in a candidate in order to hire them? You have to get that information. Where can you get that? You can get that from asking people that are involved in the process, maybe even people that work at the company, because they might see a pattern on what they look for in hiring people. You can look at the job description, but it's not perfect, or the job posting, because, which are two different things, by the way. Those may not be the best documents though, because sometimes companies don't do a great job of writing job descriptions or job postings. I would like to think job postings would be stronger, but not necessarily. Okay. So, so that's when you want to be asked, tell me about yourself, because you are given the spotlight in the interview for 2 to 3 minutes and you really want to shine. That is crucial. You want to highlight and you want to take that time, because you probably have a vast experience, right? But you have to be focused on what is most important to them and what they need to hear in order to hire you. And of course, please represent yourself authentically, passionately. Don't misrepresent yourself. Okay. So if you think that they want to hear something that you don't have, don't share that with them. All right. It goes without saying. All right, next question. I have to keep on moving here. Oh, and by the way, you might be wondering, like, well, who is this person that's telling me all of this? Just super quick. My background is I've been a career coach for a good number of years now. I've helped many people, many revenue leaders. And then also too, I'm happy to help people outside of that discipline when my connections ask me for help. So because I definitely want to help my connections. It's so important because my connections have been great. They've helped me. My background before doing this was in human resources. The way I got into human resources was as a recruiter. I love being a recruiter. I did that for 8 years. But then when I went into HR, I always had recruiting as part of my responsibilities. So, and I started off working 100% commission as a recruiter. It was great. I was very successful, loved it. So, and that's why I kept that as part of my HR duty. So anyway, okay, sorry. I want to get back to these questions for you. Why are you looking? I want to know if I'm a recruiter interviewing you, I want to know, why are you looking? What's your deal? So you have to be comfortable with that. If you're fleeing a toxic work environment, as many of you are, you need to have this down. And you also have to pay attention to your energy, because when you're fleeing a toxic work environment, often you've got wounds from that. You've got wounds that you need to heal, and you're going to have scars. It's not going to go away. But you have to take care of yourself, and you need to make sure that you are answering this question in the way that you want to. Okay, so that's important. And then as an employer, I want to know, why do you want to work here? And also too, the next question is, why do you want this job? What is it about this job that you want? Okay, and why are you in this industry? Okay, so those are some key questions for you. And then other things that are very fair game. A lot of us may not be very happy with these questions too, because it's like they're kind of standard questions, and are they really questions of substance? If they're answered in the right way, and you can flip them around, and you can make sure that you're giving the information that you feel is relevant to you, really is authentic, is truthful, and that will help you to get this role. That's why that intel on finding out what it is that they need in order to hire someone is crucial. Okay. So you could be asked about strengths and weaknesses. I know many of you might have eye rolls out there, but understanding what your strengths are is part of your brand, your unique brand. So, and how you stand out from others. That's the thing. How are you different from other people? So you want to differentiate yourself and be memorable. And also too, you can use weaknesses to show what you've been working on and what your growth is. Okay. Challenging situations that you've been at work, be able to describe that. And also, when have you been successful on a team? What's a project that you worked on as part of a team that you were successful with? Another question that I didn't put on the slide, but I think this is a major eye roll too for many people, is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? That's fair game. I think the eye rolls are, well, how is anyone supposed to know where they're going to be in 5 years? You need to show, though, that you have a plan for your life and for your work, for your career. I'm not very impressed with someone when they don't have a plan. I think that they're disorganized, and I don't want them on my team. I have that. I really value someone who's organized and has a strategy, has a plan. And put yourself, how would you feel if you're the hiring manager? So keep that in mind. That's really important. Okay, so now these are the questions that you need to ask. Okay. Oh, and by the way, the first bullet point in my training, I'm going to touch upon that. So I will cover that next. I'm going out of order here a little bit because I really wanted to get to the meat and potatoes for you right away. All right. But there's going to be a great bonus at the end of this training that you will not want to miss, because it's awesome. I think it's great. So anyway, questions you need to ask. And these are questions, you've got to think of these questions. What is the information that you want to know? What is most important to you? Okay. In order to take this job, right? So what are the questions you need to know that you need to ask? And I feel like these questions will help you stand out from other people too. I just love this first question. And it goes back to, what must a candidate have in order to get this job? What are the musts? What are the hard requirements that someone has to have in order to get this job? And you need to be prepared to say how you have those things, obviously. What's the biggest problem for me to solve in the first 6 months that I'd be in this role? And even you can expand upon that, and you can ask about the first year. You can ask the first 90 days, first 6 months, but you want to understand what's the biggest problem you would want me to solve in my first 6 months? Because that shows that you are focused on problem solving. And then another question is, when you interviewed Mr. or Miss Interviewer, what did you want to know before starting in this role? What would you, and another way to rephrase it is, what would you have liked to have known before starting in your role. So kind of get some insight into that. Okay. And then this last question I have listed is, what's the number one quality of those who do well and get promoted? So you want to find out, what is the number one, what's the top quality of the people that have been getting promoted here and are successful? That will help you understand more about the employees there, the culture, the values. So that's a crucial question for you to ask. Okay. All right. So the first bullet point that I listed in this training and promoting it is, I want you to apply the 80-20 rule. Okay. And how many of you have heard of the 80-20 rule? And often it's referred to as the Pareto principle. Pareto, I believe, was an Italian mathematician who also liked gardening. And when he was gardening, I think he made the observation that that's how he came up with the 80-20 rule. And what it is that, and you think about, maybe think of a task that you do or that you've done, and apply the 80-20 rule, and think about what are, and you can say this in your job search. So I want you to apply this in your job search. What are the 20% of activities that yield 80% of my results? Okay. So what are those 20% of activities that yield 80% of my results? Okay. And out of that 20%, if you are an effective connector or networker, as many of you describe it, then that's going to be in that 20%. Okay. So those, I like to view that 20% as the high yield activities, the high yield actions. As many of you know, there's so many things in your job search that will waste your time. So that's the 80%, because there are like 80% of your activities that will only yield 20% of your results. So what's an example of something in that 80%? I think applying to online jobs, unless you're tweaking it, unless you're focused, like making sure you're one of the first people to apply for that job. And then you also reach out to a key decision maker regarding that job. That's important. That's how you change it. Okay. So I wanted to speak to that because I had that as part of this training. But yeah, the connections, and that's my next slide. For you first, you have to get interviews. So there are many of you that I'm talking to that are not getting interviews. You're getting ghosted, and you're not getting interviews. And then there are people who are getting a lot of interviews and then getting ghosted. All right. But in order to get the interviews that will take you to offer land, I really feel you have to connect. You have to tap into the hidden job market. You have to connect with people. Relying on job boards alone is not going to get you there. And I would say don't rely on job boards, because I feel it's a waste of time. And I wanted to share this quote. I just love this Brene Brown quote, because it just really is what connection is all about. And it's the energy that exists between people when they're seen, heard, and valued, when they can give and receive without judgment, and they derive sustenance and strength from relationship. And the interview process would be so much stronger if we did this, if we valued it. So it starts with us. Let's all do our best to make the interview process stronger, healthier, functional, not dysfunctional. And let's really try to focus on this. Everyone, not just you candidates, of course. We need employers to do this, right? And hiring managers and recruiters, everyone who's in the process. Okay. Your network who's trying to help you, your connections. So, but really try to focus on this definition, because it really nails it. Remember, and I like to think of it, if you are an introvert and you hate networking, throw that word in the garbage. Okay. Just throw it out and replace it with connecting. I think connecting is a much better word and more attractive. So do whatever you can to embrace the connection work that you need to do. I feel like I'm a connection evangelist, because I really want you to tap into the hidden job market. And even though it wasn't the main focus of this training, the main focus is for you to get offers from your interviews. you can't forget this, because in order for you to get interviews, and also too, in order for you to get the offers, it's going to happen through connection, really connecting in those interviews. Okay. And then to get the interview, to get in there and to talk with people, to get information, you need to be an effective connector. So here's 2 of my worksheets to help you. This first one on the left will just help you get started with that connection habit that you need to have. And you can start with as little as 5 minutes a day. And what do I mean by that? Reaching out to a stranger once a day, all right? Do that. Or you can also reach out to one of your existing connections that you haven't talked with in ages, okay? So start with that, do that for 5 minutes a day, and then you can build up to 60 minutes a day. But when you do that, then put an X through the day, and then you'll do it. But if you can do that for 30 days, you're on your way. So actually, I think if you only do it for 21 days, you're great. Okay, and then here's the personal connection sheet to help you measure your connections. Really like that sheet when you're doing a job search to know, am I doing enough activity? You know, that you need to measure yourself. What we measure, we manage, and that's important. And don't forget about your LinkedIn profile, because that should reflect your brand. These are the essential elements of that. So when you're connecting, this helps you because people want to know, who is this person that's reaching out to me? You want to make sure that your LinkedIn profile represents your brand. If it's not, then you need to get that fixed immediately. Get it fixed immediately. That's so important. Here's my little diagram that I just wanted to share. This is my approach as being a career coach. And I have 3 steps to it: reflect, plan, and connect. So that's just my little, to help you get out of dissatisfaction to get to fulfilling work. And then if your profile, if you feel your brand is not reflected in your LinkedIn profile, you have to fix that as soon as possible. If you don't have opportunities finding you on LinkedIn, you're not coming up in searches. That needs to get fixed as soon as possible. So with that, you know, if we are connected, but we haven't made it to having a phone call yet, I'm happy to offer this to you. Okay. People do pay me to do this and I love doing it. But if we're connected, then let's do this because I want to help you. Okay. Or if you feel your job search strategy is not working or you don't have a strategy, then that's why the name of this is strategy/LinkedIn profile audit. Because sometimes the strategy is just missing or it's just really flawed. And I want to help you with that. So we're going to put that link in the comments too, to help you as well, because this is the best way I can help you outside of this training on a one-on-one basis. Okay. So now let me share the tip that I'm really excited about. And it's actually a tip that I read from Ben Muir. I follow him on LinkedIn. I really enjoy his content. I subscribe to his Sunday Systems email. Another coach had referred Ben Muir to me, and I just enjoy it so much. But this was a tip that he had in his email on Sunday, and I had to share it with you and I had seen that he had done this before, but I think it's great. It's regarding thank you notes. You want to be different. Okay. Again, you need to differentiate yourself and stand out and not do what everyone else is doing, right? So when you go to the interview, all right, or of course, I know a lot of interviews are in person. I mean, not in person, virtual, but if you have an in-person interview, okay, bring thank you notes with you. Okay. Bring a lot of thank you notes with you. And then once you leave, then fill out a handwritten thank you note to everyone that you met. Okay. Make it short, succinct, to the point. Do that while you're there. So maybe go to a Starbucks or somewhere nearby, or be in the, I don't know, on the first floor, whatever, but be somewhere and do that. Get that done. Put them in an envelope and then drop them off at the reception area. Okay. So I know some offices may not have a receptionist, but typically they might have like an inbox or something. But if you can really drop those off that day, I think that's great. That makes a statement. That makes you stand out to me as a recruiter, as a hiring manager, that you get things done and that you are serious. You're not wasting any time. So, so again, I have to credit that to Ben Merrick because I like that very, very much. So yeah, so again, I want to help you. The best way I can help you is when we is on a one-on-one basis. If we take the time, you can do this call and I will give this to you. It'll be my gift to you. Because I typically do get paid for this, because I love doing this. I'm very passionate about helping people. There's too many LinkedIn profiles that I see on this platform that they just do a bad job. They don't tell me anything. They don't tell me how you are invaluable to others. And I know that you are invaluable to others. So with that, I'll wrap it up. Please put your questions in the comments or DM me directly, and have a wonderful day. Thanks for being here. And please share this. Please, please pay it forward. Help others. So many people need help right now. And it'll feel good if you share this training with your network, repost it, but please share it with others because there's a lot of people that need help in today's job market right now. Have a great day. Bye.